Hello and welcome to the latest edition of Tote Stable Tours. We're here in Warren Hill in Newmarket and we are visiting Roger Varian. Watch along as we find out more about Roger and his key horses such as My Cloud and where they're going to run in the later part of the season. Make sure to like and subscribe and leave a comment of where we should go next.
Looks fairly busy here, Roger. How many horses would you have in training at the moment?
We have about 150 here at the moment, yeah.
Is there scope for more? Or is that sort of the usual number?
Well, we always have a little surplus from that because, you know, there's horses, you know, maybe injured or sick horses or weak horses. So we don't have to have our full quota, you know, in at any one time, but we'll actually be 160 horses here capacity. We're working with about 150 at the moment on site, you know, and then a few horses out of training, you know, as is the case most times of the year.
Yeah.
Good morning. How are you?
How are you?
It's my wife.
Hiya, good morning.
Hanako. These guys are from a Tote, doing a stable tour.
You're the first Newmarket trainer we've had on, Roger. What's it
yeah.
like training in Newmarket?
Well, it's all I know really, because I've been here 25 years or so. Obviously a big fan of the place. It's a great place to train. You know, we've got lots of great facilities on our doorstep. I think this year's probably highlighted how lucky we are. You know, we've had such a dry, hot summer, very dry spring, but we haven't, you know, really been affected with the horses. Maybe we haven't got them training on grass as much as we would like, but we're spoilt for choice really with all weather facilities. We've got a very good water gallop, which is maintained excellently by the Jockey Club Estates. Water gallop runs parallel with the Rowley Mile, so we can get on grass for our faster work if we want to.
Yeah.
But we do most of our work on the all-weather tracks, and you know, as you move around town, you'll see, you know, there's not just one track that everyone culminates to and uses. You know, there's a huge variety. You know, hill gallops, flat gallops, right-handed tracks, left-handed tracks. So it offers a lot Newmarket, you know, first-class veterinary practices on our doorstep, you know, great training facilities. You know, we have a lot of facilities here in the yard. You know, we've got equine swimming pool, high-speed treadmill, we've got a spa, we've got this great arena where we are now, you know, where we see the horses gather and you know, shortly see them warm up and get them organised before they go out onto the public gallops.
And did you say you've been here 25 years?
Well, in Newmarket full-time 25 years.
Yeah.
This is my 15th season training, and I was here 10 years as assistant trainer to Michael Jarvis before that, so I spent a couple of summers, you know, as a youngster up here, but full-time I'd have been in Newmarket, yeah, about 25 years.
And I was interested to learn that before you joined Michael Jarvis, you used to be a jump jockey.
I was, yeah. Jump racing is really what attracted me to the game in the first place. As a kid growing up, I used to like going to the local point-to-point and getting close to the action. I loved the Grand National. That was a highlight of my year, and you know, at the time, Channel 4 racing. You know, every Saturday, you know, I'd love to sit in and watch a race. And so I was a horse racing fan as a kid growing up, but particularly jumps racing. And as I got a bit older, all I wanted to be was a jump jockey. So jump racing, I suppose, was my roots. That's what sucked me into the game. But I quickly discovered Newmarket, and that opened the door and the appeal, I suppose, of flat racing. And you know, from the age of 21, I've been in Newmarket, you know, working with flat horses. So.
Have you ever fancied training a jumper?
I haven't really. No, we trained one a few years ago unsuccessfully. We went to Huntingdon on Boxing Day for a hurdle race and left with our tail firmly between our legs. And we had a bumper winner at Fakenham a few years ago. That was the extent of our jumping.
What time do you start working in the morning?
Yeah, we start early, so the first slot, standard first slot, is at 6 o'clock. So that's, you know, ride is up at about 10 to 6, 5 to 6. Everyone in the ride here for 6 o'clock. And when it's, you know, really hot, you know, when we had that those heat waves, we go a bit earlier. We get horses in the ride here at 5:30, and we try and get through the morning, before the real heat of the day kicks in. And we've got a lot to do. We've got a lot to achieve every day. So the earlier we start, the more we feel we can accomplish.
I think we're getting sort of a sense now of the size of this operation. How many staff would you have working here?
We're about 75 staff, give or take, and a great team. Very lucky. The backbone behind me is very strong, and I'm the lucky one, at the forefront of the operation. But I've got a great team, and you need a good team of horses, but you need a good team of people, and fortunately we've got both at the moment.
I suppose you'd have quite a big team of jockeys, the likes of Sylvester de Souza, Jack Mitchell and such. Who would you use, and how does that work?
Well, we sort of work within a pool of riders, really. We're not tied down to anyone specifically. Sylvester obviously rides a lot for us and is employed or retained by Nurlan Bizakov, so he'll ride for Nurlan first and foremost, and for me afterwards. But very supportive of Ray Dawson, who unfortunately is injured at the moment. And Jack Mitchell's been a key member of the team for a long time now, and he's having a very good year again. And young jockey Aidan Keeley is starting to find his feet, having lost his claim a year or so ago. So there would be the four, I suppose. But we've got owners with their own jockeys. Shadwell, of course, with Jim Crowley, and Qatar Racing with Oisin Murphy, and we've got some Godolphin horses this year. Very fortunate to train for the first time this year for Godolphin, with William Buick. So, we're not sort of tied to a per se stable jockey like maybe you would have done 15, 20 years ago, but we work with a pool of jockeys who we're very comfortable to work with, we've got very good relations with, and are very much part of the wider team.
We touched on sort of training in Newmarket. What's it like? How competitive is it going to Newmarket races with a good horse in one of these maidens? How competitive is the racing scene in Newmarket?
Well, the game is competitive, not just Newmarket. We go to a maiden in Newmarket. You're not just against Newmarket horses. You've got the strength of the Northern stables getting ever stronger, and some of the Lambourne stables, and the likes of Andrew Balding and Richard Hannon and Rafe Beckett, who aren't Lambourne. Harry Charlton, they're Southern-based trainers. Newmarket's very strong. Had a great year this year. I think Newmarket, as a town, great Royal Ascot, and likes of Carl Burke and Kevin Ryan and Charlie Johnson, Richard Fahey, very, very strong up north. So, the game is strong, the industry's strong. If there's been chat about jumps racing in Ireland and England being fairly uncompetitive, and maybe the flat racing in Ireland not getting as many different trainers involved at the top end, the flat racing scene in England, is incredibly strong, isn't it? That top 10 is hard to break into, and it's hard to stay there, because it's there's a lot of strength from a lot of different stables and a lot of different owners, and I think that's good for the game. I think the as hard as it is, the competitive nature of British flat racing, I think, is great for the game.
I know you spent some time in America, and you're not afraid to travel horses to the likes of France and stuff for a race. Is that the case? You sort of pick the best chance for it to win, and wherever it may be.
Well, yeah, we're in the business of winning races, so whether we're at home or abroad, we're running in races we think we've got a chance of winning. But we only take very, very good horses internationally. It's very expensive to travel them, so you've got to take very good horses, and you've got to feel that you're taking them not just on a social trip, you've got to take them to be very competitive. There's a pigeon. You see the pigeon? Pigeon came out low and went right across from him. They're very important, this is why you have to concentrate, because it gives us a chance to look at all the horses trotting, make sure they're moving, you know, what's normal for them, make sure the riders are happy. And it's amazing when you're in conversation, you think you're looking at them, but you're not fully concentrating. Yeah, you can pull up this time, guys. Gives the horses a chance to warm up and gives us a chance to observe them, make sure that we're happy with their action, happy with their movement before we send them out to do anything stronger.
Is it hard to keep track of having so many horses at the same time?
No, not at all. We're with them every day, and like being in a classroom with 30 school kids, you know, you get to know them very well, know their personalities, know their traits, what's normal for one isn't normal for another. And when you're with them every day, they become part of your life, and you know them as individuals, you know their personalities as well as their athletic traits and their movements and things, and also, you know, very reliant on the team around you. All these riders are excellent riders, you know, and they know the horses very well, and their feedback's invaluable. You know, we only see them here, and we're going to see them out on the canter, but you know, the riders are sat on their backs for an hour or an hour and 10 minutes, and they can be very useful with their feedback. You're going to the gates, are you? You're on your own? Both canters, okay? You're going to follow them right on their heels, these two colts. Come on your own, Sing. Sing, if you want to lead, you follow Charlie and Gio. Individual first canter, and let Emma lead the second canter.
Reading on your website, you've got an incredible record of having a Group 1 winner every season bar 2. Is that something you sort of set as a target for yourself at the start of the season?
Well, absolutely. In terms of Group 1 winners, you know, that's a pinnacle, isn't it? Training winners at the top level. So it's what we set out to achieve every year. Not easy to do every year. You obviously need the horses, you know, with that level of ability. And one thing we can't do is, you know, we can't make them go any faster than their ability will allow. So you are dependent on the stock that you're training, you know, on any given year or generation of horse. And we've been very lucky over the years, to, you know, to be given some very nice horses to train, and you know, we've had you know, a respectable amount of success at Group 1 level, and you know, we set out each year hoping that we can add to that that list of Group 1 winners. But you know, it's very competitive, you know, all ends of a game, and very much so at the top of the game. So it's hard to achieve, but we're you know, very satisfied with I think we're 28 Group 1 winners over the period of time we've been training, and you know, hopefully we can keep adding to that. But we haven't done yet this year, so we'll be hoping something can fly high in the next few months, you know.
And Elmalka give you your first 1,000 guineas. Is there a sort of particular type of horse that you think you do well with?
I hope I'm the type of trainer that can get the best out of any horse, you know, whether we're talking, you know, young horses, older horses, sprinters, stayers, colts, fillies, and everything in between. You know, it should be the skill of a trainer not to be pigeonholed, I suppose, as being a good trainer of a certain type of horse. You know, we should be, should have the necessary skill set, you know, to really do well with, you know, with any horse. And again, across the spectrums of abilities, you know, our job is to get the very best out of those horses as individuals, whether that's winning a 0 to 70 Class 5 handicap somewhere, or whether it's, you know, bringing home a Group 1. You know, we've, you know, very, very much elite athletes, elite equine athletes, you know, and we've got a, you know, on a competition in competition, we've got to get the best out of them. You know, that's simplifying the job that we've got to do. You know.
How often would you go racing?
I don't go all the time. You know, we can't. We've got runners most days of a week, and if we went racing all the time, we'd spend all week on the road and, you know, achieve nothing at home. You know, the place I'm most comfortable and the place where I think my presence is most important is to be at home in the yard with the horses, with the staff. I'm a very hands-on trainer, and you know, for me to be at my best, I don't think I can be on the road racing all the time. But I hope I get the balance right. I think I go racing when I have to, and I like to be at the races to see the clients. And, you know, of course, you know, the bigger racing, weekend racing, the festival racing, I'm always going to be there. And but again, you know, you're very reliant of a team around you, and I've got some, you know, excellent people supporting me who can represent me at the races if I'm absent. So it's getting the balance right, you know, and time management is something that you probably develop and learn the longer you train. It's an awful lot to achieve every day, and whilst I'm very hands-on, I'm very understanding that I can't do everything. I can't be everywhere at once, and sort of sensible delegation and time management are very important factors of training or running any kind of business. I think big business.
We're past the midpoint of the season now. How would you assess how it's gone for you so far?
I think we're having a good year. I think, you know, the numbers are looking good. Percentages are up from the last couple of years. I think the horses have run consistently well. We won some nice races, and a very good platform to push on into the second half of the season. You know, we're probably lacking a stable star at the moment. You know, a real headline act. Obviously, last year, you know, we won the 1,000 guineas with Elmalka, and, you know, we had Charin flying the flag as champion miler, and of course you miss horses like that. But, you know, we're looking to unearth, you know, the next flagship horse, and hopefully during the course of the second half of the season, you know, one or two horses will just pop their hands up and prove good enough at the top level.
We had a Royal Ascot winning issue with My Cloud.
Yeah,
it was impressive. He's entered in the. He's got an entry in the Celebration Mile at Goodwood.
yeah.
Is the plan now to step up as a group company?
That's the plan. Yeah, yeah. He's a very talented horse, and he's done nothing wrong this year. You know, we think he is a group horse. You know, quite what level he slots in the pattern, you know, time will tell. But he's still a lightly raced horse, and he's very impressive. You know, he's very impressive in his work. He's very impressive as an individual. So we'd be hopeful he'll step up into group company at some point.
French Duke, a Wafnan horse. He
Yeah.
looks again of a nice type. He ran well at Goodwood last year. Is the plan to go back to Glorious Goodwood?
He will, yeah. He's on target to run in the summer handicap, which is the mile 6 class 2 handicap on Saturday. He's in good form. He ran very well at Royal Ascot. And that was his first run of the year. The race wasn't quite run to suit, but he finished his race off strongly, and no, we were very happy with him, so we look forward to running him at Goodwood.
So you've got two in the Chesterfield Cup, Shadow Dance and Defiance.
Yeah.
Defiance is towards the top of the market currently. Again, both nice types. I think both will go there with chances.
Yeah, they'll both run. Defiance is in great form. He ran very well at Epsom on Derby weekend, and he was one of the favourites of the John Smith Cup at York a couple of weeks ago. We didn't run him because I thought the ground was too firm. So we waited for this race, and I think the ground should be lovely on Tuesday. And, you know, we'd look forward to running him. He's in good form. The other horse, Shadow Dance, it'll be his first run of the year. He just might need a run. He's training really well, and we'd like to get him to York for the E-Ball. And it's a good opportunity to run him, you know, 3.5 weeks or so, nearly 4 weeks out from an E-Ball, and on nice ground, you know, a nice track like Goodwood. He'd probably be better when he goes back up in trip, but he's capable to run well. He just might need a run.
Russet Gold's a good sprinter. Would he? There's potential of running the Stewards Cup or anything like
He's
that?
not entered, no.
ENFJARR, another nice type. He was a winner of the John Smith's Cup. Again, have you got any plans, like future plans?
He was very unlucky in the Wolverton Stakes on Tuesday of Royal Ascot. You know, he ran a good race, and he ran on Saturday in the Stevington Stakes at Newbury, and he slightly disappointed us, but I'd say the ground was a bit quick for him. He didn't really let down on that fast ground at Newbury, so we'll give him a bit of time, and he should come back and be capable of winning a nice race in the autumn.
Touched on Elmalka before, obviously won the Guineas last year and also ran good races. Would something like that, would she have a Nassau Stakes entry or anything like that?
No, she's not in the Nassau. She ran in the Nassau last year. She ran very well. I think she was 4th in the Nassau last year. I'll probably just bring her back to Group 3 company. I might look at something like the Atalanta Stakes at Sandown towards the end of August. And you know, she hasn't won a race since the Guineas, although she's run incredibly well almost every start. She's been very consistent, but it'd be lovely to give her a winning opportunity. So we might come back to the Group 3 at Sandown at the end of August, and then maybe that will lift her into something like the Sun Chariot in October.
JABAARA ran at Glorious Goodwood last year in the Archery Stakes, which she'd won, and then the places were reversed.
Yeah.
Would she go back? And
she's on schedule to run there again. She's in great form, and she seemed to like the track last year, so hopefully we can get it right this year.
Fantastic fox, going to go an old servant. He's entering the Golden Mile at Glorious Goodwood.
Yeah, it'd be unlikely to run. He might go to Ascot for the Shergar Cup Mile.
So he's got an unbeaten filly, Lady of Spain. She entered at Ascot on Saturday.
Yeah, she won't run on Saturday, but she's not far off running again. She's very good, and you know, we look forward to seeing her again in a few weeks' time. It won't be Saturday though.
It's got a few 3-year-olds just to touch on. RAHIEBB. He's entered in the Great Voltage at the EBOR meeting. Again, ran a crack at Royal Ascot chasing Old Merchant. Looks a nice prospect. Is the aim to go to the EBOR meeting? Or?
Possibly, but we'd like to run him next week at Goodwood in the Gordon Stakes, 1.5 mile Group 3 for 3-year-olds. He's a very nice horse, yeah. He was 3rd in the Queen's Vase at Royal Ascot. That was a good run. And he gave Immersion £8, you know, and got beat 2 1/4 lengths at York, which, you know, very strong handicap form. He's a lovely horse for the future. He'd be a good staying horse. You might find the 1.5 mile around Goodwood a touch sharp for him, but it would be good for his progression. You could take him a Vulture, and we hope he develops into a St Leger horse.
SADDADD won the Gold Cup. It's always thrown like a race, traditionally thrown up nice horses.
Yeah.
Also ran a good race at Royal Ascot. Sorry, the third that day has come out and won at Royal Ascot.
Yeah.
Looks a really nice type. Has he got any plans later on in the summer?
Yeah, he's a smart horse, and we've just been looking after him on this fast ground. He's a better horse just getting his toe into the ground. And he could come back for a York handicap at the EBOR meeting over 1.25 miles, or we could wait for a similar race at Sandown towards the end of August. But it should set him up for a strong autumn. He's a pretty good horse, I think.
TEROOMM looks like another nice horse. He won the Silver Ball at Haydock, so it was a good handicap as well.
Yeah.
And ran into Britannia. Seemed to get denied a clear run at Royal Ascot.
Yeah, he didn't have a great passage at Ascot. He ran very well. He's a nice horse. Go run at Ascot on Saturday in the Class 2 handicap. Take on older horses for the first time. So, yeah, we'd look forward to running him on Saturday.
And SALLAAL looks a progressive sort. Won 3 of his 4 starts. Won at Hamilton impressively last week. Looks a nice type again going forward.
Yeah, he's a lovely horse. I think he'll be, be a horse who hopefully could go up through the ranks as a 4-year-old. I think we'll just look after him a little bit this year, and I'm not quite sure where we'll go with him next. But no, it's nice to see him win again at Hamilton. I think he got put up 6 by the handicapper, so he's off 103 now. And yeah, we'll give it some thought as to where we go next, but he's a nice horse for the future.
JACKKNIFE won an Epsilon debut and was 3rd behind Opera Bella, nice horse of Godolphins.
Yeah.
Again, have you got any future plans for that?
Yeah, he's a really nice horse. He went to Ascot for the Hampton Court Stakes, and he reared up in the gates and was a very late last minute withdrawal, which is disappointing for everyone, but thankfully he didn't hurt himself, and we're just sort of building him up again now. And he's another horse who could develop into a strong autumn horse, and be a lovely horse for us next year.
MUNSIF's won 2 of his 3 stars at Nottingham and Pontefract, and third behind Dante's Lad in a good race at York.
Yeah.
Would he go back to York for the Dante meeting?
Yeah, we'll have to give him some thought. You know, we castrated him after that run at York actually, and decided to miss Ascot with him. But he's training nicely again now, and you know, he could be a nice progressive horse for us through the second half of the season. Not quite sure where he go for his next start, but he's in good form.
Protest won on debut and was forced to Killing Queen, who's a nice type. Cheveley Park stud horse. Do you have any plans for that?
Yeah, she's a lovely filly, and she'll run at Goodwood on Tuesday. She'll run in the fillies handicap over 1 mile, a Class 3 race. It's a lovely race actually, and it's a nice race for her. You know, she's a filly we hope down the line will be achieving black type. She's been 4th twice now in listed races. But we're going to stay in handicap company at least for her next start, and hope she can have a strong second half of the season as well. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Coming Attraction looks a nice 2-year-old Dark Angel filly. She's got some nice entry to Princess Margaret in the Lalva Stakes for the Eagle meeting. Again, looks promising type. Is that the aim to target with them nice races?
Well, it is really, yeah. She's a lovely filly. Unfortunately, she won't run in the Princess Margaret Stakes on Saturday. Her scope wasn't perfect this week, so it's a bit frustrating that we couldn't run her. I thought that would really suit her. But I think she's a filly with stakes potential, and hopefully she can get some black type later in the year.
Calico Blue was a really impressive winner at Chester last time.
Yeah.
I've got down here at a rate of 96.
Yeah.
Again, really impressive. Again, pattern races on the agenda?
Well, probably maybe a nursery handicap first. We might consider one of the York nurseries. I think he could be adaptive over 6 furlongs, you know, which has been his winning distance. I could see him moving up to 7 furlongs at some point. So we'll look at the Ebor meeting for him. A race I really like for him, he's in the sales race, Weatherby-sponsored sales race at the St Ledger meeting at Doncaster, which is 6.5 furlongs. A very valuable race, and I think he'd suit that race very well.
Starlight Time, the time test colt, won impressively by 4 lengths on debut at Epsom. He's entered in like a couple of auction races as well later on in the season.
Well, we'll see how he develops. He's a lovely horse, and he could run at Yarmouth on Monday, or maybe go back to Epsom for a race next Thursday. So it's likely he'll have his second start at either Yarmouth or Epsom next week. And he's very likeable horse, obviously made a good impression on his debut, and of course he's one of those horses you hope can you know, keep progressing. He's only had the 1 start. I'm not sure that was a strong event, but he won it nicely, and he should keep improving. Nice horse.
Another winner, 2-year-old winner, FAROUGH, won at maiden at Pontefract.
Yeah, he's had a setback, that horse, so he's unlikely to run again this year. Yeah, but nice horse. Yeah.
Peel Park won nicely as well at Yarmouth.
Yeah.
Looks a nice type.
Yeah, he's a progressive horse, a very laid-back horse. He's done nothing wrong. He's improved with every start, and he should keep getting better. He's got loads of scope, lovely strong horse, and he could go to York for one of the nurseries.
ANASHHAD has some nice form. He was running a good race at York, which Taddy and Do or Do Not finished in front. He finished 3rd that day.
Yeah.
That was an impressive form. It's obviously been boosted with Do or Do Not running well at the July meeting.
Yeah.
He looks like a type that should progress further. Is he entered at Goodwood next week?
He is. He ran at Ascot and was slightly disappointing a fortnight ago. I stepped him up to 7 furlongs. I think the ground was a bit firm for him, and maybe he didn't quite appreciate the extra furlong. We thought it would suit him, maybe it didn't. So he'd likely come back to 6 furlongs for the maiden at Goodwood on Tuesday. And he's a nice horse. First run was very good, and you know, he should keep improving. I don't think we've seen the best of him yet.
Tarot is a Cheveley Park stud filly, stars Spangled Banner. She was a good second at Newbury on last week, and again, looks another nice type to go forward with.
Yeah, she's a lovely filly actually. She's got loads of scope, and we've always liked her. We've had to be patient with her just to allow her to sort of get a bit stronger. It's a lovely Cheveley Park family, and you know, she made a very encouraging debut, and hopefully she can build on that. A couple of maiden options for her, maybe the week after Goodwood, so we'll see. We'll try and make her a winner first and foremost, and then see if she can progress after that.
I just wanted to ask, is there particular race courses you like introducing your younger horses at?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think it's very much down to the individual. You know, we wouldn't necessarily choose Epsom to go with an unraced horse, and yet we've had two very good debutant winners there this year, JACKKNIFE in April, of course, and Starlight Times a few weeks ago, a 2-year-old, they both won, you know, on a round course at Epsom. Very well balanced horses, very natural in their action, and they cope with it just fine. So I think it's about knowing your horses and what they can cope with, not just on debut, but you know, going forward. As you know, not every horse will suit every track. You know, you get flat track specialists. You get some horses who love meeting the ground. You know, love those stiff tracks like Ascot. You know, where you're always meeting the rising ground. And you get some very natural horses, incredibly well balanced, light on their feet, that can gain an advantage by being very good on an undulating track. So, if I'm confident about what a horse can cope with, and I don't worry too much about the track that I introduce them to. But if I was sort of trying to answer your question a bit more generally, then I would always say first time up a flat track or a track where you're meeting the ground.
You have a good record in the winter, like your weather race with that NC and Glenbook and stuff. Do they race your target, like the Winter Derby and Listed Club X Stakes and stuff like that?
Sometimes it works almost by circumstance for winter, where you've had a horse miss for summer through injury, and you know, you've just got it back in the autumn, and you've kind of run out of races, and the horse is so well. And if you actually wait all the way till next turf season, you kind of got an 8-month wait. You know, if you're waiting from November to May or something, that's 7 months, isn't it? You know, it's a long wait with a horse who's ready to perform. So the winter season now does offer some quite nice opportunities with some reasonable prize money, you know, for that Class 2 horse. And you get 1 or 2 horses, like I couldn't explain why, but Terroommm C seems to prefer the weather than the grass. And I think it's quite good for the team to, you know, my team, to have a few winter runners, because I think it keeps the racing interest going. The winter can be quite a long testing time, you know, in the worst of the weather, you know, very little daylight. You know, without the winter runners, you know, it can be a long winter waiting for the spring and the turf season to start again. So I don't like running too many through the winter, but I always feel that we're busy with those unraced 2-year-olds all the way up until Christmas, just trying to get a bit of experience into those late maturing horses. And then if you've got half a dozen older horses that you can kind of plot a winter season for through the winter, it just gives everyone a bit of racing focus through the winter, and helps those days pass a bit quicker. And you know, and then the majority of the horses will start building up in the new year for the springs. So.
Sorry, I missed Imperial Quarter before, nice filly.
Yeah, she's a lovely filly. She runs tomorrow night at York in the Lyric Stakes, 1.25 mile listed race. And she's from a family that's been very good to us. She's out of Ambivalent, who won the Pretty Polly for us. She was our 3rd Group 1 winner. And Ambivalent's been a great mare, producing the likes of Tiona, who was another Group 1 winner. You know, she won the Vermeer for us, Tiona. So Imperial Quarter's from a family we know very well. And she's been a nice filly. She hasn't quite brought home a stakes race, but she's been placed twice. She was 3rd in the Atalanta Stakes last year. Hi, Charlie. And she was 3rd the other day in the Pippalong Stakes. We're down here. And she's going to go to York tomorrow for the Lyric Stakes, and she could run very well. QAZAQ?
Yeah, sorry, yeah.
QAZAQ. He ran at Ascot on Saturday in the International Handicap. This Saturday, so we'll see how he gets on there first before making any other plans. But yeah, he's entered in the big mile handicap at York. He's a talented horse. He's from a good filly, Kabbalah, who was 3rd in the Guineas for us a few years ago. He's just been a little bit fragile to train, but I think now he's a 4-year-old, sort of much more mature horse. Hopefully he can get a bit more consistency to his racing. But you know, he could run well on Saturday. Looking forward to him.
Bobby BENNU was a 3-time winner last year. It was a good run behind King's Lynn at Haydock last time. Would something like Goodwood be a plan? Or?
No, he's not in at Goodwood, but we'd take him. Planned to take him to Chester next Saturday. On the second, it's either Saturday, it might be Sunday the 3rd of August. There's a 7 furlong Class 2 handicap. So the plan is to go to Chester with him. But he's a lovely horse and he should be winning again soon. He ran well at Haydock last time.